Friends and fellow Floridians, our great state of Florida, the third most populous state in the Union, has always been a beacon of opportunity, promise, and success. From the southernmost point to the shores of Apalachicola Bay and everywhere in between, Floridians have many different ways of life, but we all take pride in hard work, family, and our beloved freedoms. We just heard the governor speak about Florida's triumphs. Yet, underneath carefully curated talking points, a much darker reality is clear. The very essence of what has made our state great for decades is under continued threat due to an increasingly out-of-touch and extreme agenda championed by the Republican Party of Florida and a governor who is more preoccupied with running for president than solving problems in our state. Despite our booming economy, the foundations of Florida are shaking. Our seniors, pillars of our communities, whose hard work and dedication built Florida up to her former glory, now face the grim possibility of losing their homes. Our students and young people, who are supposed to be Florida's future, can't afford to live in the state they grew up in and desperately want to make better. Our workers and unions, the fabric of our communities and the backbone of our economy, are under constant attack and face elimination by their own government. And while Florida has become the inflation hotspot of the country, families across the state are burdened by soaring costs of living, the erosion of our democracy, and a government preoccupied with taking away our rights while failing to address real issues facing everyday people. Housing continues to be unaffordable for most, and more than 250,000 Floridians, including small children, will soon be deprived of healthcare coverage, leaving our population sicker and poorer as a direct result of government failures. Unjust abortion bans opposed by the vast majority of Floridians have stripped our residents of their right to privacy and health care, forcing dangerous pregnancy and birth, or else, with threats to literally jail women and their doctors. Freedom of speech and peaceful protest have been curtailed, destroying constitutional protections assured by the First Amendment. Voting rights and equality are under attack, and freedom, true freedom, is long forgone. But Florida Senate Democrats, along with our colleagues in the House, are working tirelessly to defend our rights, to restore affordability and solve problems for everyday people, because we believe the great state of Florida, the home we love so much, is unquestionably worth fighting for, and so is our freedom. Together, Florida Senate Democrats are fighting for you, filing legislation to ensure Floridians have the freedom to be economically strong, healthy, and safe. That's why I'm fighting to make sure women aren't jailed over abortion care, and low-income seniors stay afloat amidst the ongoing property insurance crisis. That's why Senator Rouson is fighting to protect Florida's seniors from fraud. And Leader Pro Tem Pizzo, Senator Osgood, and Senator Torres are fighting to make sure Floridians can actually afford to live in the Sunshine State. Senator Stewart is fighting to preserve Florida's world-class environment, while Senator Berman and Senator Davis are fighting to expand Medicaid and create a healthier Florida. Senator Polsky is fighting for common-sense gun safety, and Senator Powell is fighting against community violence. It's why Senator Thompson continues to be a voice for voting rights, while Senator Jones is making sure students have the freedom to learn Florida's true and unabridged history, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we continue to propose measures to ensure the promise of freedom and the prosperity of Florida's booming economy reach every single neighborhood and zip code across the state. We are proud to fight for teachers and truck drivers, for women and their doctors, for farmers and small business owners, students, and our seniors. Because until every Floridian has access to economic opportunity, safe communities, and the freedom to realize their own version of the American dream, Florida's promise is failing. Unfortunately, Democratic proposals are routinely rejected along party lines in favor of an agenda that prioritizes the interests of the few over the needs of many. But we will not give up. And let me be clear, the priorities of the people and the taxpayers and the hard-working families who make the Sunshine State great must always be the priority of any public servant in elected office. Corporate interests must never take precedence over the well-being of our residents and our communities, and the tenets of freedom, safety, and affordability must anchor all decisions. As Florida's Senate Democratic leader, I want you to rest assured knowing that Democrats in the legislature remain undeterred in our fight for your rights. We're fighting for teachers like Anna, who just wants to be paid a dignified wage to do the job she loves, and for the state of Florida to stop attacking her classroom library, her students, and her union. We're fighting for Sam and his wife Kim, grandparents in their 80s who worked hard all of their lives, now on the brink of losing their home because they, like so many others, just can't afford Florida's skyrocketing cost of property insurance. And we're fighting for Anya, Shanae, and so many others across the state of Florida who have been denied needed and appropriate medical care following dangerous miscarriages, told they must go home and get sick, and quite literally risk death before a doctor can legally provide treatment because of Florida's barbaric and cruel ban on abortion, and politicians who think they know better than a woman and her doctor. These Floridians and each and every one of us deserve better. We deserve more. And while passing good public policy means we'll work across the aisle in order to get things done for you, your elected Democrats will never compromise in defense of our shared values. As we open and gavel in the start of the 2024 Florida legislative session, your Senate Democratic Caucus and the Democratic Battalion in the Florida House will continue to uplift the voices and demands of our constituents. We were elected to do the people's work, and yours is the interest we proudly serve. But the urgency is paramount. Floridians are not merely asking but begging for help. You have my word that I will continue to lead the fight for relief and progress for Floridians everywhere. Together, we have the solutions. It is long past time to put those solutions into action for the benefit of all. Florida is only as prosperous, as safe, and as free as the poorest, least protected, and least free among us. The fight continues.
Hello, I'm Fentrice Driscoll, Democratic leader in the Florida House of Representatives. Today, Ron DeSantis delivered his State of the State address. Unfortunately, I find it remarkable that he even had anything to say, because he spent most of the last year focused on his own political ambitions outside of Florida. Our absentee governor, your governor, visited all 99 counties in Iowa, while our property insurance rates, rent, and cost of living skyrocketed, and over 360,000 of our children lost their health insurance in Florida's disastrous Medicaid disenrollment. The Republican legislature and DeSantis traded our freedoms, taxpayer dollars, and reputation as a state to advance one man's political career. Now, while that damage cannot be undone overnight, we can change course and make better choices for Florida's future. We can finally fix problems Florida's families are facing every day and leave the distracting culture wars behind. Let's focus on pocketbook issues, not book bans, affordability solutions instead of abortion restrictions, and create affordable housing, not tax breaks for DeSantis donors. Although Democrats are in the minority in Tallahassee, my Democratic colleagues in the House and Senate show up to do the work, and we use our voices to fight for the people of Florida every single day. Every legislative session, we propose actual solutions to the very real problems facing Floridians instead of manufacturing new hurdles for people. So instead of listing everything they've done that makes Florida worse, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what we would do differently. Number one, we would work to make Florida affordable for Floridians again. The cost of living here is too high. Our state cannot remain strong and grow if so many families are struggling just to find and keep a place to call home. There's not enough good housing for people, so home and rental prices are unaffordable. Over the last 20 years, Republican lawmakers have taken more than $2 billion, $2 billion with a B, that was supposed to go to building affordable homes and used it to give huge tax cuts to wealthy corporations instead. Meanwhile, we are in a property insurance crisis with Floridians paying the highest premiums in the nation. And after 2 regular sessions and 2 special sessions specifically dedicated to this issue, our rates are still out of control. That's because the GOP legislature has prioritized only the needs of the insurance companies, not the people. Any real lasting solution to this crisis must do both. Next, we would stop the unending attack on abortion access in Florida. Across the country, people are standing up and saying, "Hands off my health care." And Floridians do not want Tallahassee politicians getting between a woman and her doctor. We're on the cusp of a 6-week ban, which would outlaw abortion before many women even know they're pregnant. That's extremist and wrong, and not what the people want. Abortion is health care, period, full stop. Nobody should be allowed to control what happens to a woman's body without her consent. Nobody should be allowed to control what happens to your body without your consent. And speaking of healthcare, Florida is one of only 10 states in the country that still refuses to accept Medicaid expansion and the money that comes with it. If Democrats were in charge, we would expand Medicaid. 40 other states, including quote-unquote red states, have already joined. And Florida is sitting at the kiddie table with states like Alabama and Mississippi who haven't. Accepting Medicaid expansion dollars would help provide health care to low-income Florida families and save the state a lot of money. I mean, we're talking about saving billions of dollars and countless lives. Finally, we would stop the assault on our teachers and local traditional public schools. We would provide the schools more funding and bring Florida's teacher pay up to reflect our commitment to our kids. That's not complicated or dramatic. In fact, it's pretty simple, and it's what we need to do to invest in Florida's future. We believe that every Floridian deserves the freedom to be healthy, prosperous, and safe. And that means ending the distracting culture wars, refocusing our government on helping the working people of Florida, and getting partisan politics out of families' lives. Governing the Sunshine State is a privilege, and we should treat it as such. We should be focused on doing what's best for the people, not the powerful. Now, notice what's not on our list. We aren't making Florida less safe by rolling back gun safety laws. We aren't trying to hide a workplace shortage created by their bad policies, by weakening child labor laws. We aren't wasting time interfering with how parents raise their kids or limiting the books they can read. These are actual policies that Republicans are focused on this year. By contrast, Florida House Democrats want to do serious things to solve real problems facing Florida families. We don't want the culture war fights. I mean, they don't improve our economy or help anyone's life. Let's leave kids, library books, and woke boogeymen alone this year. We've spent 2 years being governed by what DeSantis thinks would be most attractive to Iowa and New Hampshire primary voters. And that hasn't made life better for Florida's families. But together, we can make it easier for a Florida family to thrive, not just survive. Let's fix the roads and classrooms, clean the water, and strengthen our economy from the bottom up. Let's use this chance to build something instead of tearing others down. The Democratic caucus and I show up every day knowing that this is going to be an uphill battle. You know, our experience has taught us that it is hard to fight for change. But we also understand that if we do not try, we do not make progress. We invite you to come stand with us. Help create the change that Florida so desperately needs. Come be a part of the movement away from fear and back toward community, to help defend our beliefs without belittling anyone for theirs, to help heal division through compassionate leadership. We can work together. We can build a better Florida. and we can all have the freedom to be healthy, prosperous, and safe. I'm Fentrice Driscoll, leader of the Florida House Democrats. Thank you for your time.